So, we are at the same side, right?
Right.
But we all want these relics, right?
Right.
But because we are allies, we won't start a bloodbath, but instead we would cooperate to take that relics, right?
Right.
And after that, we fairly distribute all of this, right?
Right.
So, we all know what to do. Can we just make it and go back to our homes, yeah?
Sure.
I have bad feelings about that. Hello everyone, welcome to Raven Crew Minis. We are doing another battle report today, but that will be something special, or maybe just different. First, I decided to make smaller warbands because I still have that small 25 by 32 table. So I built both lists with 50 ducats and 4 glory points. And well, let me show you army list right away. I made trench pilgrims based on my previous warband. Just removed few models, like for example half of these basic pilgrims with bolt action rifles, which didn't do much. And now I got only 5 of them. I brought 2 melee guys as well, but with a limited equipment, 2 shotguns and 2 SMGs. But in that case I made one important change. I gave one of these guys incendiary bullets to increase his damage capability even more. Well, he still hits with no additional dice, but can make 4 damage instead of 2 with his shooting. That is a big difference, I believe, and I think he is a biggest threat to his opponents. Main weakness of this warband is obviously lack of any other special things except that firearm. There is not that much armor in there, so yeah, that might be rough. Hopefully opponents are not that tough like Black Grail Knights previously. Speaking of opponents, it is Free State of Prussia, subfaction of the Principality of New Antioch. There is only 4 stormtroopers in that list and also 1 mandatory lieutenant. Let's start with him, because I'm playing with smaller points, I decided to make additional rule where none of chosen soldiers could exceed 100 point cost, with intention to block overpowered combo possibilities, like for example allied leader with HMG and heavy armor or something like that. Thing is that in the end I had to take lieutenant because of faction rules, who cost basically 70 ducats, and with standard armor, which means any armor, that cost increases to 90. Well, yeah, I couldn't give him like any proper weapon in that case. But I decided to stick with that rule and build that leader with just 2 pistols. Now he can shoot and fight in melee and overall deal 4 damage. What about his bodyguards? Well, 2 of them with additional infiltration are melee with double sword and greatsword, and another 2 carries bolt action rifles. Each has standard armor and some grenades. Yes, that 12-inch range grenades are scary as shit. But, well, if I lose 3 of that night, game might end because of morale. That's a main issue. We are playing relic hunt, like I like to call it, with 1 objective marker at the dead center on the top of a church of the board and 2 more placed 8 inches away on diagonal. I used corner deployment. There is 24 space between each deployment zone. Oh, what about zombies? Well, I made a special rule to make that episode a bit more Halloween-like, but, well, I forget to use it, like completely. I just played almost whole first turn without doing any zombie roll, so yeah. I decided to continue as normal and just make another BatRep with zombies in the future. I'm sorry guys, but either way, it's better to have 2 battle reports instead of 1, right? Prussia won Roloff. They decided to take a corner with a 3, which feels like a bit better option generally speaking. Trench pilgrims deployed whole warband at the line as far as possible from the corner. and as close to the center. Prussian placed lieutenant on the top of a tree to make easier way to the middle for him. One stormtrooper sit at that hill and another one at the opposite side of a deployment zone behind the fence. And one infiltrator stayed a bit forward from him, but another one, well, he took middle objective straight away. At the first turn he won't move, probably. Knights has less models, so they decide to give first activation to the pilgrims, and they just move with a melee guy forward straight into the ladder which lead to the church and next to the middle objective. Knight activates their double sword, who moves forward and dash forward, and he succeeds. Surprisingly, he has enough range to throw a grenade at that chunk of trench pilgrims, so well, he does that, and he hits. He lands a hit, dealing 2 shrapnel damage. He deals 1 damage and makes down one of the trench pilgrims. He misses another one and knocks down third one, that armored with combat helmet. So yeah, that is massive victory from Knights. He dealt overall 5 damage, which is massive. Trench Pilgrims immediately stands up with SMG, moves forward and shooting at that knight at the top. He fails with a first shot but hits with another and makes that knight down, dealing 1 damage. Next, knight with rifle activates and follows his friend with swords. He successfully dashes and shooting at that pilgrim closest to the table edge. He hits and makes that guy down. Thing is, he stands up immediately, moves a bit forward and shoots at double sword knight, but without success. At the opposing side of the table, lieutenant moves up and fails to dash. Next, trench pilgrims activates their fallen melee guy, second melee guy, and moves forward. Dashes successfully, so he moves 6 inches in total. Knight activates bolt action rifle at the opposing side and moves a bit up and forward. This guy shoots at the pilgrim at the long range and deals 1 damage. Another trench pilgrims moves forward and dashes successfully. The activation of knights ended, so there is only pilgrims who moves a bit forward with every single one of them, with some successful dashes and some failed. There was also some shooting, but without any big successes. Even that fire SMG couldn't do much. And that's the opposing side of the board, and pilgrims securing that one of the side objectives. They also shoot at that bolt action rifle knight who is sitting under the tree, but without any big successes. I think 1 damage was dealt. So generally speaking, there is 2-1 for Free State of Prussia at the end of that first turn. At the first turn does not that much happened. Biggest winner of that round is infiltration action. This ability gave a knight 3 victory point and is forcing trench pilgrims to chase a score. Prussian got very well defensive positions and they made that massive grenade hit because of infiltration. But there is one thing in favor of trench pilgrims. They didn't lose any models, so they still have that massive number advantage. If they kill one knight holding that one back objective, well, it might be really rough for knights. Really quick reminder, if you like my graveyard table, there is campaign going on my mini factory right now. You can check it and have it, and well, if you wanna just support that channel, that's the best way, I think, right now. In the second turn, knights decides to activate first, to stand up with that fallen knight who took few shots at the end of the first turn. He moves forward and again throws a grenade at the chunk of that pilgrims. I mean, there's two of them. In that case, he dealt some damage and killed one SMG guy. He also tries to dash, but failing. Near to him, one trench pilgrim with melee weapon moves up but fails to throw Molotov. First bolt action knight moves forward and shoots at that trench pilgrim who is hidden by the fence. He uses all blood markers and deal maximum of damage, 12 rolls 12 and kills that trench pilgrim. Another melee guy moves up and throws Molotov at that double sword knight. Hits but fails to wound. That knight takes 1 damage anyway, and he is 4 total. That melee guy moves also forward, charges and smashing with sword, making that knight down. To help his friend, knight with a great sword moves down, charges and deals 1 damage to the trench pilgrim with a shield. There is also some shooting at that knight with a bolt action rifle at the top of the building, and a bit of movement forward to the side objective occupied by knights, with successful dash, of course. That trench pilgrim is pretty damn close, but he do not hold that objective. At the opposing side, bolt action rifle, knight with a bolt action rifle shots, but without any success. He takes some damage in return. Oh, no, he didn't. After that, Lieutenant shoots at the closest bolt action rifle trench pilgrim with his pistol, adding 2 dice for his +2 in range, 1 for elevated position, -1 dice for range and for cover. He hits, lands a hit and deals a lot of damage, killing that trench pilgrim. He after that moves forward because I think he cannot shoot with his another weapon at the another target. I'm not entirely sure, but I did like that. He moves forward but fails to dash. Another trench pilgrim activates and closes up, shooting at that knight with a bolt action rifle but without any success. Another trench pilgrim moves forward because there is no other knights to activate. At the opposing side of the table, Fire SMG tries his luck again and shooting at that exposed knight with a bolt action rifle. First shot fails and another as well. Turn ends with a result of 3-2 for Free State of Prussia. Second turn ends for Prussian knights even stronger. They finally managed to kill few models, making game a bit even in numbers. There is still a lot of that pilgrims, but they cannot reach middle objective because of blockade at the tight spot under the church, so yeah, we will see. Third turn and we start with a melee combat. There is a lot of action going on, so each one of them is hitting at each one of them, but overall there is not that much damage dealt. I mean that Trench Pilgrim took like 2 damage, 2 blood markers. At the end, the Trench Pilgrim is knocked down, but his friend is joining the combat, but he missed his attack. Full throws grenade, I think, at that Trench Pilgrim at the bottom. He hits, deals shrapnel damage and clearing his objective. SMG guys moves forward and again shoots twice at that poor knight at the objective. First shot lands, dealing fire damage and another normal damage, knocking down that knight. Another shot hits and deals enough damage to kill him. I took that dice, but it was technically exactly that should be another dice, and I used that 3 blood markers on him to make a blood buff dice, so technically I should use 3 dice from that roll, so that knight is dead. Massive success for Trench Pilgrims at last. At the opposing side of the table, another shooting with bolt action rifle, but without any successes. Pilgrims do the same, but also without any successes. Lieutenant makes a difference because he's shooting from that elevated position at that shotgun guy below, hits once, deals damage and hits another one, dealing enough damage to kill that shotgun guy. And Lieutenant also moves up to hold that middle objective. Trench Pilgrims moves a bit and shoots a bit at that side of the table, but without any significant successes. So third turn ends with a overall score 4 for knights and 3 for Trench Pilgrims. Third turn, only 1 knight died, but that flipped the coin a bit. I mean, Pilgrims still cannot get to middle objective. I think that is impossible for them to break through that blockade near the church. But they kill the knight protecting side objective, and in next turn they can score right there. That SMG guy with his full move can reach it, so pilgrims can at least secure a draw. Again, we will see. I made a mistake here. I mean, I failed with counting a model, so I'm rolling for initiative, but well, technically that knights should take that initiative because there are still 2 or 3 trench pilgrims more. But anyway, that doesn't really matter that much, I think. Well, in that case, trench pilgrims get their initiative and stand up with that knight, trying to hit, but without any successes. In the answer, knights also trying to hit. I mean that shock trooper with double weapons. And even that he takes some negative minus dices because of blood markers, he is able to kill that trench pilgrim. Another one is moving back and trying to throw Molotov at that too, but fails. Here, knight with greatsword throwing nades at that SMG guy and charging at him. I mean, he knocked him down with his grenade, charges and finish the work with greatsword, using all possible blood markers. So SMG is also out of action. At the opposing side, well, there wasn't that much action going on. There is a lot of shooting, a lot of moving. That guy secured that objective and try to like kill that last knight under the tree, but failed to do so. And that is the end. That poor trench pilgrims could not win that game, right? 4-turn game ends with a 6-5 score for knights for Free State of Prussia, and at the 5th that would be 7-6. And at the 6th, well, that really depends, but I think they could not reach any objective. It looks like I made a crucial mistake with that sword and shield pilgrim, but even if I did move SMG first, knights could kill him straight away. I mean, maybe not kill, but down is good enough to stop him from scoring. And as we have seen, Nate would knock that SMG down and Greatsword could use it even engage in combat. I mean, he could just leave. So yeah, the result would be exactly the same. Anyways, let's sum up. I love how that game was going. During my previous battle report, I mean during recording it, I was actually bored. There was chunk of that pilgrim sitting at each other and that armored knight who couldn't be stopped like at all. That is why I played previous scenario again, but sadly with similar result. But this one was quite the opposite. There was so much fun. Lot of action, lot of damage on both sides and a bit of dramatism too, I would say. That was damn close game, even though I made all possible mistakes for trench pilgrims, I believe, and they also had terrible rolls. That 2v2 melee on that key spot was awesome. I still have feeling that close combat is not worth it in Trench Crusade. Like, there would be way better for both sides if they would throw nades at each other, I think. And yeah, that nades feels quite the opposite. Like OP? I don't know, maybe not OP, but still very, very strong. Especially with that powerful Prussian upgrade. Well, we could watch that special rule with AOE nades in action at the beginning. Damn strong. I didn't really expect that. That is why I placed these pilgrims like that. Anyway, scenario was also fun, a lot of fun. I have invented some other scenarios for my small table purposes, but that relic hunt feels really okay, I think. Even though infiltration makes big difference. Army with infiltrators gets like 1 point for free and another have to chase all the time. But turning off infiltration for this scenario doesn't feel right regardless. Oh, and fire SMG also feels really nice. If I knock down a target with his first shoot, It is like free kill at the second, right? He hits with automatic fire blood marker, so the target has 3 blood markers after that first knockdown. So he can use that 3 for adding bloodbath dice. Main thing is that Pilgrims does not have +1 range, which makes hitting really difficult. Speaking of hitting, that dude with double pistols, Lieutenant, was stronger than I expected, to be honest. He deserved MVP, or maybe that dude with double swords. What do you think, guys? Well, and that is all. Even though game was kinda close, I feel like spamming Pilgrims is not the best option in that faction. I have to give them something more. And, well, I actually have an idea.